So, I don't understand why he was honking, but whatever. Hi, I'm Danielle Copeland. I study data analytics at CareerFoundry, and I'm based in New York City.
What's the best part about living in New York?
The best part about living in New York is definitely the food.
Okay.
There's you could literally get any type of food that you've ever wanted here. Let's say you decided that you wanted something from a really random, obscure province in China. I'm sure that probably exists in Chinatown. I just love that. You can find anything anywhere. My friend really likes to go to Staten Island for Ethiopian food. If you go to the Bronx, you can get really great Hispanic food, and just any kind of food you've ever wanted, it exists here. Also, really random fun fact, people in New York, they speak over 600 languages here.
Super diverse.
Yeah, super diverse.
The most diverse US city.
Yeah, it's amazing. I wouldn't want to live anywhere else in the US.
When and how did you first find out about data analytics?
I think I've been doing data analytics a lot longer without realizing what it was. So I have a degree in economics. So I did my bachelor's and my master's in economics. So that requires you to do a lot of data analytics. We call it econometrics, or it's really just grabbing a lot of different data about economies and then doing data analytics on it. So I've been kind of doing that from my undergrad, but it wasn't until, during the pandemic, I got let go from a job during a organizational structure change. And that's when I really started to think about, what do I really want to do? Do I want to do the same thing that I've been doing now? Or do I want to try something new? And that's really when I started learning more about data analytics. And I really enjoyed the fact that I just love numbers. And it's just numbers all day, every day. No, I'm kidding. That's
a lot of numbers.
A lot of numbers. Yeah. That make me happy. Someone asked me, recently, why do I want to be a data analyst? And it was more so because, I love data and I love numbers because numbers don't really lie. You can use numbers to lie, it's totally doable, but the numbers themselves are hard facts. And I really enjoy that about them.
Is there a specific moment that you can remember in which you said, okay, this convinced me I'm definitely becoming a data analyst?
After I got let go of my first job, my previous job, I wasn't sure what I wanted to do, like I said. And there was a role that was data analytics, and I wasn't really sure if I wanted to do that. And I was like, do I really want to try something new? And then it wasn't until a little bit later after that where I actually did I guess you would call it an intro to the intro for CareerFoundry.
Short course.
Yeah, the super short course.
6-day short course.
Yes, the 6-day short course. I did that, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is so much fun. Why doesn't everyone want to do this? And that's when I really realized that data analytics was for me, and that it's something that I am actually really passionate about. And the work that I do, it's fine, it's great. My company is wonderful, the people I work with are wonderful, but life is short, and we have to work for so long of it anyway. Why not do something that you're passionate about and something that, excites you about in the morning? So I want to be able to get up in the morning and be like, oh, sweet, I get to go tackle this data set.
Yeah.
So I just really love numbers. Who says that?
How did you find out about CareerFoundry?
I think I was just kind of searching a lot of different things. Like I said, I looked at this job, it sounded really interesting, it was data analytics, and then I was like, I don't think I'm actually qualified to do that. And I just kind of started Googling to find out if anyone had courses. There were some courses that I saw that I was kind of interested in, but what I didn't like about them is that it was specific times and days that you had to be there for class, and you couldn't miss too many of those. And a lot of them required you to do it on the weekends. And I'm a really social person. I love hanging out with my friends and grabbing meals, obviously. And so I was like, I definitely can't commit to something that is, in a class setting, on specific days. It's just so hard because life is just so fluid here. So I decided to go with CareerFoundry because it allowed me to choose when I wanted to learn, when I wanted to do the assignments. Yeah, I did tend to do them at the times the class would have been, but not always. I was able to pick up different lessons, so I started learning Japanese because I was like, oh, because CareerFoundry is so flexible, I can do other things as well. I started taking Japanese classes.
Wow. How did you realize CareerFoundry was the right choice for you?
I knew that CareerFoundry was the right choice because, it's super flexible. You can do your work whenever you needed to, but you still have that, you still get the feedback, which is something that I really wanted. Some people were saying like, there are free courses online, but when I got stumped, it was so nice to be able to talk to someone who had been in the industry for such a long time, and to get their feedback and to see, how do I go to the next step from here? I remember there was a project that we were doing that required geospatial locations, and I just had the hardest time making this graph work. My mentor really sat with me, and we worked together to make sure that, my map would work so that it was populating the correct data on my visualization.
Now, this is a tough one, but if you could sum up your overall experience with CareerFoundry in one word, what would it be and why?
That's really hard. I talk too much. One word is not enough. I guess it would be impactful. I really learned how to better tailor my resume, how to write better cover letters, how to make a project portfolio, which has been really great because while, I don't have anything on my resume that says data analyst, I have a portfolio to show, hey, these are some of the works that I've done. People have found that really interesting. I did a project on the labor force participation rate of women to talk about the gender gap. And during interviews, I've talked about it, and people are like, oh my gosh, that's so interesting. Like, why did you decide to do this? What kind of data did you find? All these different types of things. And so that's been really fun to talk about as well. As well as, I'm trying to apply for a job at the UN, and, that kind of research is just absolutely perfect for them as well. So, it was a really good experience, and I'm really glad that I did it.
Oh, super inspiring. Yeah. What did your typical day as a data analytics student with CareerFoundry look like? Yeah,
so like I said, I was taking Japanese classes, so that took up certain days, as well as working during the day. So I made sure to try set, at least an hour or two a day, even if it's just, reading through the material. Making sure I understood the materials. At the end, you have to answer a couple of questions. It might be a short number of questions, or it might be a really big exercise. And after I read the material, I'd just run through the questions, make sure I understood them, and then, maybe like the next day, I'd start working on the exercise. Try to get like a rough draft in. Maybe the day after that, really finalize everything and make sure that it looked good. That day, I would then, submit my work. And because you're getting a lot of feedback, sometimes my work went through like on the first try. Sometimes it took 2 or 3. You would get feedback from your mentor. You would then, change it, make any changes to your submission that you needed, and then you would submit again. So I made sure I gave myself enough time for that as well. So within like a 7-day week, I was trying to submit my work by, day 3 or 4. So that I had enough time to make changes as necessary.
And were you still working while studying or?
Yep, I was still working till 6, and then either jumping on Japanese class or jumping straight into data analytics.
What did you find the most challenging about this process of learning and working and all that stuff?
I think the most challenge was just, sometimes it was those days when you just had no energy, and I just wanted to watch all the dramas that existed on Netflix, and really just, telling myself like, hey, if you just do 1 hour of this, then you can watch as much Netflix as you want for the rest of the night. And it's really just finding that discipline, because it can be really hard after like a long day's work. You really just want to relax. But knowing that if I didn't do it today, that it was going to come and bite me in the butt tomorrow, that was the hardest part.
What would you say to people who want a career change, but they have multiple responsibilities? What advice would you give them?
The best advice that I actually saw online was someone explaining that, in, let's say 6 months from now, you could either be at the same exact spot that you are right now, or you could be trying something new. And I really like that idea because, the time is going to pass either way, but you can try to do something different in that time.
Oh, that's really good. How did you find the flexible learning approach?
It's really good. I do a lot. So like I said, I took Japanese classes. I was taking Italian classes when I first started CareerFoundry. So I was taking 2 different languages. I also like rock climb, and I host an event once a month for rock climbing, and I do a little bit of sewing, and I play the ukulele and the violin. And I like to read. Apparently I don't like to sleep. I don't know. So that flexibility is like super important to me because I do so much stuff and I never know what I'm gonna be in the mood for that day. So I kind of have to be always super flexible. So I can fit it around anything, or do it like in the morning if I manage to wake up early, or like if I'm going to work and you can just have it on my iPad, or like if I'm going to go visit my mom on the train, then I can just like have it and just do my work, or like just at least do the read-ins whenever I can.
Did you also get a chance to talk to your mentor and tutor? And if so, how was that dynamic like?
They were both really great. They were both really good at, giving me really good feedback. I used to get video feedback, and that was super helpful because sometimes when you just get written feedback, you don't always really know what they mean. So, I don't understand why he was honking, but whatever. But it was just really nice, like being able to talk to people who had done this role and who knew what they were doing, and being able to see what they thought was very useful.
Did they give you any tips that you feel like still helps you in your current role?
He posts visualizations of like the week or like of the month or something. And so that's really cool because you get to see, how people are, visualizing data. And it's always really fun to see because everyone thinks of data differently and has different kind of data visualizations that they like. And so that's always just really kind of fun to see, how people are visualizing data. And, it makes you think, how can I visualize my data better?
So looking back at the process of you learning a new career, a new skill, is there anything that you would do differently looking back?
I would have started earlier. I was saying I wish I had started much earlier. Maybe when I first got let go, I wish I'd started back then, just so that it would have been a much easier time to try find a job. But I'm not willing to give up because if I give up, then I might be stuck. I don't want to say stuck, but I'll still be in an industry that I'm not as passionate about. And so I might as well just keep going because it might take a while, but eventually I have to get there, right? If I just keep forcing myself in there, they'll have to take me eventually.
Well. Are there any tips that you would give for job hunting, applying, interviewing?
So this has worked for me a couple times. So sometimes when you get a rejection, it's just like from a do not reply kind of thing. But every now and then I get rejected from an actual person. And it's actually really useful because then I can, say, hey, why exactly did you decide to choose that person? Or what could I have done better? Or can you actually just give me some feedback on my resume? And that's been super useful, just to know what does a recruiter want and what are they interested in, just so I can, better tailor my experience and, tailor my resume and tailor how I conduct an interview so that hopefully next time, it's a lot better. Oh, I have another great tip. So they make you network a lot. And I was just like, oh, this is so annoying. I hate networking, especially like cold call it, like essentially just cold messaging people on LinkedIn. And it felt like torture. I hated that. That was my least favorite part of it. And it's actually been super useful. I hated the fact that it's been super useful as well. I have met, a lot of really wonderful people through there. I'm now on a Slack channel. I'm on multiple different Slack channels with people that do data analysis. And, sometimes they'll post jobs there before they post jobs anywhere else. Or they'll let me know about jobs that wouldn't have shown up for me. And it's really great because you get to see jobs, very quickly, but those people sometimes know the hiring manager. So you can sometimes get to talk to the hiring manager. And recently I actually talked to a hiring manager because I knew her through the Slack channel. And it's been really cool. And, she was the one that posted the job. I messaged her, I was like, hey, can you just tell me, a little bit more about this role? And we were able to kind of start a conversation, and she let me know that, hey, if you apply to this job, I'll make sure to tell HR to just be on the lookout for your resume.
That's super cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, networking still.
Yeah, network is super, super important.
How have your mentor, tutor, and/or career specialist supported you in the job search?
So I still talk to my career specialist. She's really wonderful. We have, bi-weekly, that means 2 times a week. Well, not 2 times a week, every other week. A lot of times it's just giving me encouragement, because with such a long job search, it can become very disheartening. Some days I want to give up, but I know I can't. And, sometimes we'll talk about what I could do differently on a resume or for a job application, but sometimes it's just checking in and seeing how I'm doing and making sure that I'm still applying to jobs and I'm still working hard.
What advice would you give someone thinking of changing careers into a tech role from a completely unrelated field?
If people want to go into tech, I guess it depends on what they're trying to do. An easy way to get into tech is to go in through a business analyst role. It's a lot easier because you're essentially, talking to the clients and talking to developers, and it's a very easy way to get in. And then from there you can upskill. I got into tech as a business analyst, and it's been a really fun journey and something that, I really do love. I love the industry, and it's just a lot of fun, and it's got a lot of remote roles. Yeah. Why go to the office if you don't have to?
What's next for you? What do you dream of? So what would you like to accomplish in the next 5 years? Where do you see yourself?
In the next 5 years, I'd hopefully get a job at the UN. Cross my fingers. Put it out to the universe. Job at the UN, please. I actually have multiple different ways of getting into the UN. I'm currently applying to the Young Professional Program, but there's an age limit on that. So if that doesn't work out, I can always go in as an experience role. So if I go, become a data analyst, work for that for a couple of years, and then get into the UN. So that's kind of my long-term goal, is to get into UN. It's something that I really want to try. I like helping people. I like meeting people from all over, and experiencing and exploring different cultures. So I think it's a really good, solid way to be able to do that and to be able to travel as well.
Do you think it's too late to become a data analyst?
I would never say that. I would say there are some roles that you have to get into, when you're young. With data analytics, there really is no age range. I mean, if you're 70, then, it might be a little bit too late then, but you can do some personal projects, and you can, there's websites where you can get just one-off projects, and you can still do, data works that way. So yeah, I don't think it's ever too late. If it's something that you're really interested in, you should always try to go and do it.
Okay. So some women might feel intimidated or doubtful or unsure of entering the tech industry. What would you say to them? What do you think about women working in tech?
Being a woman in tech is hard. I will never say it's not. It is very much, a boys' club. I still get, sexist remarks or sexist undertones for things, like people thinking, oh, I should go get coffee and things like that. Or I should, know where the meeting is, or where's the meeting room? And I'm like, I have no idea. It's your meeting. Shouldn't you be the one to tell me? But no, I think that as time goes on, more and more women will enter these industries. And while it's really hard and, can be extremely difficult to possibly be the first one there or the first couple, building a network of other women in data is super helpful, because, a lot of them are going through the same thing that you're going through. And just having people that have your back, even if they're not the same company as you, is always super helpful. And, sometimes in tech, if you're in a tech department within a bigger company, there'll be other women that you can, go and you can meet and you can, network with as well. At my last company, I was in a very small, very male-heavy department, but throughout the entire company, we had lots of women events and things like that, which were a lot of fun. And so I would just say, really it's just networking, because you just need someone in your corner and someone who'll listen to you and be like, was this sexist or am I imagining it? And it's never you're imagining it. It's always slightly sexist.
So a support system helps.
Yes,
Yeah.
having a support system is super important.